Hi kids, these are the notes for Symbolism, which is a literary device. Let me get this thing out of the way. Where can I put it? Maybe up there. Okay, Symbolism. If you're watching this, probably you weren't here for these notes, but it can also be useful to go back and watch it again if you didn't understand something in class. So I start here by saying that you already understand symbolism, possibly without realizing it. Each of these four images I put here symbolizes something. So take a minute and ask yourself what it is. If instead of symbolize, if I just said means, like what does a black cat mean? You might say, oh, black cat means bad luck. If you see two golden rings, that means marriage. We could also say symbolizes. And another synonym for symbolizes would be stands for. American flag, when you see that, it stands for or symbolizes things like freedom. If you see a headstone, it stands for or symbolizes death, right? So when we talk about symbolism in writing, it's important to know that symbolism is about deeper meanings, not surface meanings. And I'm emphasizing that because in literature, the symbol is not the deeper meaning. The symbol is an object or event that's actually existing in the poem or story. It actually is real in it, but it stands for a feeling or idea. So it literally exists. So you read a story with a black cat in it. The black cat is literally in the story. Everybody can see the black cat. It might be a symbol. Now, authors use symbols because they want to cram more meaning into writing, and they want to show instead of tell, which we know is something good to do in our writing. To spot a symbol, well, actually, let me just first say there is no, you can't ever call the writer and say, is this a symbol or not? And the writer will tell you the truth. It's a matter of interpretation, like a lot of things in literary analysis. So you get to decide whether something in literature is symbolic. And there is no way to know for sure whether it's true. If you can make a good argument for it, then you can get people to agree with you. And that's what you'll use to help understand the writing. So to spot something that might be a symbol, look for an object or event that seems sort of random or like it doesn't have built-in importance, but the author's highlighting it for some reason. And if to interpret the symbol, you're going to ask questions like this. You'll ask, what does this normally mean in real life? Because a lot of times that's a hint to what the author's using it to mean. If it's a poem, you'll ask, what does the speaker seem to feel or think about this? Is it good or bad? And what did the other people in the poem seem to think or feel about this? Is it good or bad? If you're reading a story, you'll ask, what do the characters think or feel about it? You'll ask, what's causing it? You'll ask, what effect is it having? And the answers to all those questions will help you interpret what the symbol means in the story, or the poem, sorry. Now, if it's a story, for it to be a symbol, the reader can see the meaning, like you as the reader, but the characters don't see any special meaning. It's not symbolic to the characters, it's just a thing. It's just a cat. Now you might be thinking, what's the difference between a metaphor and a symbol? So a metaphor is a figure of speech. It doesn't exist literally in the writing. It's the author being figurative. So if you said her eyes were as dark as a black cat, that doesn't mean there's actually a black cat in the story or poem. You're just making a comparison. But if there is literally a black cat running across the street in the poem or story, then it could be a symbol. It's something that's literally in it. When you make a metaphor, you know the two things the author's comparing. When the author makes a metaphor, you know the two things the author is comparing. So her eyes were as dark as a black cat. You can say the author's comparing eyes and a black cat. If it's a symbol, there's nothing being compared to anything. It's just a single thing that stands for deeper feelings or ideas. So The author shows the black cat walking across the road, and you, as the reader, infer that the black cat represents bad luck for the characters that they don't know about. And metaphors written out plainly. Her eyes were as dark as the black cat's, right there on the page. But a symbol, the only part that's right on the page is the symbol itself. Like the black cat crossed the road. What it stands for, you have to come up with on your own. Now, today, when you do the feeling sentence in your literary devices doc, you're going to write a somewhat different feeling sentence than the one I normally tell you to write. Here's what I mean by that. So here's your literary devices doc. I'll show you my literary devices doc. Normally, oh my goodness, there's so many. Hold on. Okay, so normally in your literary devices doc, you're going to use one of these feeling sentences, right? The device makes the reader feel, or, and then you put an emotion word, or the device creates an emotion word feeling, or the device makes the reader think about. Today I want you to use a little bit different sentence. And here are your three options. This, and then you plug in the thing you think is a symbol, like this black cat symbolizes, and then some words that end with an emotion word or an abstract noun, or have an emotion word or abstract noun in them. You could also say this blah blah stands for, or this blah blah represents. So you could say this black cat symbolizes bad luck, or this black cat stands for bad luck, or this black cat represents bad luck that's going to happen in the story or in the poem. Let me show you a poem that has metaphor and symbolism both, or at least you could argue that it has symbolism. Here's the class set. Here's this poem, The Summer I Was 16. Some of you have seen this poem because it's a good one for metaphor. It's some girls. It's about like adolescence, being a teenager, sort of on the verge between childhood and adulthood. And it's these girls at the pool. If you scroll down to stanza 4, well, end of stanza 3 and beginning of stanza 4, she's got some metaphors. We gobbled cotton candy torches. So there she's saying that the cotton candy they ate was like a torch. There aren't literal torches in this poem. Nobody's carrying a torch. She's just calling the cotton candy a torch because she's comparing it to a torch. And then she says it was sweet as furtive kisses. Furtive means secret. So there aren't actual secret kisses happening in this poem, but she's saying that the cotton candy was as sweet as secret kisses. So those are two metaphors. Remember that metaphor isn't literally happening in the poem. It's just the author using figurative language. It's a figure of speech. But here's possibly some symbolism. In the first stanza, the speaker describes sliding down the slide into the pool. The turquoise pool rose up to meet us. It slid a silver afterthought down which we plunged, screaming into a mirage of bubbles. So I feel like the author's opening with this event, these kids sliding down the slide into the pool, I don't feel like that's inherently exciting or important. So the fact that the author opens with it makes me think, well, maybe it has some deeper meaning. Because remember, we're looking for an object or event that seems sort of random, but the author's highlighting it. So we'll ask, what does it normally mean in real life? Well, sliding down the slide into a pool is you started out dry and you're getting wet. It's exciting and fun. What does the speaker seem to feel or think about this? And what do the people in the poem feel or think about it? They're screaming. She could have said laughing. So I feel like it's fun, but it's also kind of thrilling and maybe a little frightening. What's causing it? Not really sure, except they're at the pool. What effect is it having? Well, it makes them scream, right? And then they get up, they get out of the pool. So thinking about, it's exciting, it's fun in real life. Thinking about overall what's going on in the poem too, it's about, you used to be a kid and now you're becoming a grown up. I could say that the slide symbolizes the exciting and scary movement from childhood to adulthood. So I'm going to go down here and I could say this slide symbolizes or stands for or represents the exciting and scary transition from childhood to adulthood. And that, I'm copying it, that is going to be the comment that I add. If this is my poem, that's my feeling sentence. And then probably a bit of these. Yeah. Now, am I right or not? There's no way to know, but it's a good guess, and I'm supporting it. There's evidence here. I don't think it's crazy. That's what we do in lit analysis: is we make pretty good guesses. Okay, so that's it. You're gonna go find symbolism in your poem. A lot of you have it. A lot of you have stuff that you could reasonably say is symbolism, and then you're going to write a feeling sentence that sounds like one of these.